At our son's graduation party, my wife was glued to her phone. I walked over and she turned it upside down. Later that night, I saw a message pop up. "Can't wait for our weekend together." From her ex. I didn't confront her. I waited until our son gave a thank you speech. Then I stood up and said, "Let's all thank the real star, the man my wife's been seeing for 6 months." I showed the proof on the projector. She dropped her wine glass. Our son walked out. She called me heartless. I said, "Look in the mirror. I'm a 47-year-old father and husband. I've lived in Somerville, South Carolina, most of my life. I'm the kind of guy who fixes my own sink, mows my neighbor's lawn if he's out of town, and still wears jeans I've had since '06. I don't like drama. I don't like showing emotions in public. But what happened at my son's graduation party changed me. It brought something out of me I didn't know I had. My wife, Dana, and I had been married 23 years. We met in college. She was studying nursing, I was in business. We settled in Somerville, had our son, Mark, 3 years after the wedding. She went part-time at the hospital once Mark was born. I ran a home repair business, small scale. Nothing fancy, but we did all right. We lived in a nice brick house on a quiet street. Normal. At least, it felt that way. Things didn't fall apart all at once. It was slow. Little signs. Looking back, I can see them now, plain as day. Dana started pulling away last fall. I thought it was stress. Mark was applying to colleges, the house needed work, her job had cut hours. She wasn't sleeping much. Or she'd go to bed before me and say she was exhausted. Sex dropped off. We used to be close. Even when things were busy, we made time. But she started acting distant. Cold sometimes. I noticed she was always on her phone. At first, I didn't think much of it. Everyone's on their phone. But she started hiding it. Taking it with her to the bathroom. Keeping it face down on the counter. Once, she got a text and said it was just Steph from work. I asked, "What's so funny?" And she said, "Inside joke, you wouldn't get it." I brushed it off. The week of Mark's graduation, things got weirder. Dana was extra jumpy. She'd smile at her phone, then get this guilty look when she caught me watching. I asked if everything was okay, and she snapped, "Why are you being so nosy?" We threw Mark's party that Saturday. We had it in our backyard. Rented a big tent, had tables, music, lights strung up around the fence. It was a lot of work, but Mark deserved it. He graduated near the top of his class, got into UNC Chapel Hill. I was proud. I was proud of Dana, too, or at least I had been. I thought we had made it through the hardest part of parenting. That night, I was flipping burgers by the grill when I noticed Dana standing alone. She wasn't talking to anyone. Just staring at her phone, smiling, then typing fast. She didn't even notice her aunt walk by. I walked over. She jumped like I'd caught her stealing something. "You all right?" I asked. "Yeah," she said too quick. "Just texting Steph about her kid's recital." Then she turned her phone face down on the patio table. I knew. I didn't say a word. I just nodded and went back to the grill. But my stomach was in knots. I felt like I'd been hit in the chest. That night, after everyone left and Mark was inside playing Xbox with his cousins, I saw her phone on the counter while she was in the shower. It lit up. "Can't wait for our weekend together. Been dreaming about you. Greg. Her college ex. The one she told me had never meant anything. The one she bumped into at a reunion 2 years ago. She said he lived in Charlotte and was just a friend. I had no reason to doubt her. Until now. I stared at that message like it was a bullet. I picked up her phone. No password. She must have trusted me too much. I went through everything. Hundreds of messages. Pictures. Reservations. Plans to meet in Asheville. Plans to meet in Hilton Head. He called her babe. She said she loved him. She told him she felt alive with him. My hands were shaking. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to my phone. Then I put hers back exactly how I found it. I didn't sleep that night. I lay next to her in bed, listening to her breathe. Every breath made me sick. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed her to feel what I felt. I needed her to know what it meant to be humiliated. Not behind closed doors. Not in whispered arguments. I wanted her to see it. To feel it in front of people who mattered. So I waited. I planned. I copied the screenshots into a slideshow. Kept them clean, just enough to get the point across. I printed hotel confirmations. I kept her necklace. The one Greg gave her, the one she wore to my niece's wedding, and took a photo of her wearing it that day. Then, the night of the party, I asked Mark if he wanted to say something. He said yes. He wrote a little thank you speech. Said he wanted to thank everyone for supporting him. I asked Dana's brother Joel to help me set up a projector for a family slideshow. When the moment came, I stood off to the side, letting Mark speak. He was so proud. Thanked his teachers, his grandparents. Said he was lucky to grow up in a home where my parents stuck together through thick and thin. It nearly broke me. When he finished, people clapped. Dana wiped a tear. Then I took the mic. I want to say a few words too, I said. But not just about Mark. Tonight I want to thank someone very special. Everyone turned to me. Dana froze. I want to thank the man who's been helping my wife get through the past 6 months. He's been there for her when I wasn't. Sent her gifts. Took her to hotels. Told her she made him feel alive. Gasps. Confused looks. Let's all thank Greg, I said. The man my wife's been seeing since November. Then I clicked the remote. The projector lit up. First slide. Can't wait for our weekend together. Second slide. A photo of Dana in our kitchen, wearing Greg's necklace. Third. A screenshot of her telling him she loved him. People were dead silent. Dana dropped her wine glass. It shattered on the patio. Mark looked at her. Looked at me. Then walked out the gate without a word. Her mom cried. Joel cursed under his breath. Dana looked at me, face white, hands shaking. How could you do this here? She whispered. You're heartless. I stared right at her. Look in the mirror. Dana stood frozen. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. The kind of silence you only hear after a crash. I didn't say another word. I just walked off the patio and into the house, left the projector running. Inside, I sat on the edge of our bed. My hands were still trembling, but I felt clear. Sharp, like the fog had finally lifted. I heard the murmurs outside. Glass crunching under someone's shoe. Then the back door slammed open. Dana came in like a storm. What the hell is wrong with you? She shouted. You humiliated me. I stayed sitting. You lied for half a year. You don't get to act like the victim now. You ruined our son's party. No. You did that the minute you started sneaking around behind my back. She stood there, shaking, tears running down her face. But I didn't feel sorry. Not even a little. I saw now that she was sorry she got caught, not sorry for what she did. You could have talked to me, she said. We could have worked on it. I laughed. You were too busy texting Greg. Then she changed tactics. Her voice got lower, colder. He listens to me. You haven't really looked at me in years. You go to work, you come home, you fix stuff. But you never see me. That hit me in the gut. Not because I believed her, but because I knew that was the story she'd tell people now. That I was distant. That I pushed her into someone else's arms. She was already setting up her defense. You want to blame me for your cheating? I said, standing up. You want to rewrite the last 20 years to make this okay? You think this makes you some kind of hero? She snapped. You destroyed our family in front of everyone. No, I said. You did. I just brought a mirror. Just then, Mark came back in through the front door. His eyes were red. He looked between us, then straight at Dana. You told me Dad was paranoid, he said. You lied right to my face. Dana reached for him, but he stepped back. I don't even know who you are, he muttered. Then he turned and walked out again, this time through the front door. We didn't see him the rest of the night. After the party, half the guests left in silence. Some avoided eye contact. A few of Dana's friends glared at me like I was the one who started this mess. Her sister texted me later that night, saying I should have handled this like a man, privately. I didn't reply. The fallout started fast. Next morning, Dana was gone when I woke up. Her car was missing. Half the closet was empty. She didn't even leave a note. Later that day, I got a message from Greg. It just said, "That was low. You didn't have to involve your son." I stared at the screen. I wanted to throw my phone. Instead, I screenshotted that too. Then I blocked his number. Dana called 2 days later. Said she was staying with a friend in Charlotte. I didn't ask who. She said we needed to talk civilly for Mark's sake. I agreed. I told her I'd have the divorce papers ready in a week. But that wasn't the end. The real storm was just starting. 3 days after Dana left, I got a call from her boss at the clinic. I wasn't expecting it. We weren't close. I only met the guy once at their holiday dinner 2 years back. "Hey, I wanted to reach out," he said, real careful. "Is everything all right over there?" I hesitated. "Depends on what you've heard." He paused. "Well, Dana called in sick. Said it was a family emergency. But then I started getting calls from patients asking if she was still working here. Something about a slideshow?" So word had spread. I didn't think it would move that fast, but I guess when you humiliate someone publicly, people talk. A few of the guests had recorded the moment on their phones. I didn't ask them to. They just did. And someone had uploaded it, blurry and quiet, but clear enough. It was on Facebook. A group for locals. Under the title, "Somerville Man Exposes Wife at Son's Graduation Party." I hadn't seen it. But by the time I did, it had already been shared over 200 times. I didn't post it. But I didn't take it down either. The video changed everything. People at her clinic started talking. Some patients asked for different nurses. One left a 1-star review, dragging her name through the mud. Dana ended up taking personal leave. That's when the real twist happened. Greg's wife called me. Her name's Karen, not the kind people joke about. She sounded tired. Beat down. She asked if I had time to talk. We met at a coffee shop near Latson, middle of the day. I half expected her to slap me. But she just sat down, opened her bag, and pulled out a manila folder. "Thought you might want to see what your wife's been up to," she said. Inside were copies of hotel bills, printouts of emails, photos of Greg's phone screen. They'd been at it longer than 6 months. Try 2 years. "Greg told me he was going to leave me for her," Karen said. "Said they were in love. I told him he could go, but that he'd be walking out with nothing. That was 2 weeks ago." She gave me her lawyer's card. Told me she'd already filed. "We're not the only ones, you know," she said. I raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Turns out, Dana and Greg had met through a Facebook group for old college classmates. At least 2 other members had reached out to Karen, saying they saw messages between Dana and other men on Greg's phone. She was playing more than one game. It didn't stop there. A week later, I got an email from one of Dana's coworkers. She didn't give her name. Just said she saw what happened and thought I deserved the truth. She attached screenshots. Dana had been venting about me to people at work for months, making me out to be some cold, angry husband who only cared about his tools and his truck. She made fun of the way I dressed. Called me a Washed up handyman. Every insult felt like a new wound. Not because it hurt my pride. Because I had defended her. For years. When people asked why she didn't work full-time, I said we agreed she should be home more. When she bought things we couldn't afford, I said she deserved them. I protected her. And she mocked me behind my back. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just saved every screenshot. She called again. Left a voicemail this time. Said she was ready to come back and talk like adults. I didn't call back. I had something better in mind. When Dana came back 2 weeks later, she walked in like nothing happened. The house was quiet. Mark was still staying with my sister across town. I'd asked him to stay a little longer. I wanted to end this before he got caught in the middle again. She stood in the doorway holding a small suitcase and looked around like she missed the place. She even smiled a little, like we might joke about it all someday. Like we were just a normal couple who hit a rough patch. "I've been thinking," she said. "Maybe we went too far. Both of us." She set the suitcase down and walked to the kitchen. I was at the table. I didn't stand. "Don't unpack," I said. "You're not staying." She laughed, like I was being dramatic. "I get it. You're mad. But we have a son. We can fix this." "You've been sleeping with Greg for 2 years," I said. "He wasn't the only one." That stopped her. She stared at me, lips pressed tight. "You don't know what you're talking about. I've got emails, hotel receipts, messages." And I met Greg's wife. Dana's face went pale. That name hit her like a slap. "You think you can walk back in here and act like this was a mistake? It wasn't. You planned this. Lied to everyone. Made fun of me behind my back. I saw what you said about me at work." Her hands trembled. She sat down, finally realizing this wasn't going to be some tearful reunion. "You embarrassed me in front of my whole family," she said, voice shaking. "You cheated in front of our son." I snapped. "And you lied to his face." "I didn't mean for it to get that far." "That's the problem," I said. "You never mean to. You just do." I stood up, grabbed a folder from the kitchen counter, and handed it to her. Inside were divorce papers. "I want everything on paper. No more games." She opened the folder. Her hands shook. "You want to throw away 23 years? You already did," I said. "You just didn't think I'd throw it back." That night, I sent the video to her boss. It wasn't revenge. It was the truth. They had a policy about employee conduct. She lost her job a week later. No big scene. Just a quiet email. Fired with no fanfare. Dana moved in with Greg. That lasted 3 months. I didn't know why it ended until I got a message from Karen, Greg's ex-wife. She sent me a photo of Greg's new Tinder profile. "Looks like Dana got a taste of her own medicine," she wrote. By then, our divorce was final. Dana tried to fight for alimony, but I had everything documented. My lawyer had the full case file, texts, receipts, witness statements. She walked away with nothing. Not the house, not the car. Just her suitcase, and the name she came in with. Mark didn't speak to her for months. He eventually agreed to meet her for coffee, but he told me afterward. "She's like a stranger. I don't trust her." I didn't push him either way. He's grown now. He gets to decide what kind of relationship he wants with her. As for me, I kept the house. Redid the backyard. Tore down the tent poles, replaced the grass. I sold the projector. Donated the wine glasses. Anything that reminded me of that night went out the door. I started over. Not because I needed to heal. Because I wanted to rebuild my life from something honest. I still fix things. Still cut my neighbor's lawn. Still wear the same jeans. But now, when I sit out back with a cold beer and the sun setting low behind the fence, I don't feel stupid. I feel free. And I'll never ignore a face-down phone again.